He rejected you. And 9 times out of 10, you think it's your fault. But guess what? 9 times out of 10, it's not your fault. We're going to explore some of the reasons why. And I hope you'll stay with me. Hey, love. I'm Kay Marie, and welcome to my channel, Conversations with Kay Marie. On this channel, I will be sharing what it's like to be a single and childless woman. I'm going to share the ebbs and flows, the highs and the lows. Because this is a life that I didn't choose for myself, but it's the life that God has given me. And even in this, now, today, I've learned to have joy and contentment despite the life that I thought I wanted, that God has ultimately given to me instead. My hope is that I can build a community for us, build community where we can support one another. Also, I hope to give you ways and ideas on how to find joy and contentment while you're in this season. Lastly, I want to bring awareness to what it's like being a single and childless person to our friends and family, because sometimes they don't understand or they don't really know what we go through. And I want to build that sense of empathy. If this channel is for you, I hope that you will like it, subscribe to it, and share it with other people. Know that I am also on TikTok, Instagram, and Facebook. My name also is Kay Marie Richburg. I hope you will also follow me there. Let's get started. Today, I will be talking about rejection. How many of you have felt rejection? Raise your hand. Raise your hand. Many of us, probably all of us, have felt rejection. I'm going to begin with a definition of what rejection is. It says, it's the refusal, non-acceptance, or dismissal to a proposal, idea, etc. The act it's my dog, here she goes. The act of not accepting, believing, or considering something. I found an article in the American Psychological Association written by Kristen Weir, and in it, it said that a broken heart is no different than a broken arm. Can you believe that? Yikes. It said that rejection activates regions in the brain that tell you when you feel physical pain. It activates or increases our anger, depression, anxiety, sadness, contributes to aggression and poor impulse control, reduces our performance on difficult intellectual tasks, increases poor sleep quality, and also decreases our immune function compared to a normal person. Also shared some stats from a study back in 2003 that out of the 15 school shooters, 13 out of the 15 experienced social rejection. So rejection is huge. It can affect us in some very, very, very pronounced ways. We humans have an innate need and desire to be in community, to have connection. And when you don't have that, it really affects you in some negative ways. Like we've evolved, like yes, there are people who can fare pretty good alone. When you think about how we've evolved, the reasons why we've evolved the way that we have is because we've been in community. We support one another. So as a human, we need human connection. You can survive. Many people survive alone, but are they happy? Are they truly 100% happy being alone? I know I wouldn't be, and I know you probably aren't either. Rejection has some very negative effects on us, and sometimes we don't have to feel the rejection or the big sting of rejection. I think we need to learn to put it in perspective. Let's try to do that. And so that leads me to some points that I want to share with you today. One time my therapist told me, you feel rejected, but you're not really being rejected. You are rejecting yourself. So the person is not interested in a relationship and you are feeling hurt. Like, oh, why don't they want me? What's wrong with me? What did I do? when you're really rejecting yourself. You're rejecting who you are. If you allow yourself to stay in that situation, you're rejecting the essence of who you are and allowing this person to have you and treat you any kind of way. So learn to honor yourself, what you know you deserve. And I began to do that. So this brings me to the other day I was watching Instagram and I saw this video on, by Pastor Keon Henderson. And he said, I wrote it down. He said, in so many words, he said, people reject things that they cannot afford. It's an admission that you are priceless. That sounds good. It makes us feel good, right? Like, wow, yeah, I'm valuable. They don't understand my value, so they don't want me. Let me tell you something. Yes, that can be very true, what he said, but it not in its totality. There's so much more to consider, and that's what I want us to really start thinking about. I want us to think about, why were you rejected? What is God showing you in this situation? Why is the person rejecting you? Is it you? Or is it them? Or is it just not supposed to be? And so that's what we're going to dig into a little bit more today. I want to encourage you and give you hope. I want you to really take inventory of the real reasons why relationships don't work. I don't want you to blame yourself. 9 times out of 10, you are not the reason, my love. If you continue in blaming the other person, I don't know how much you're growing, and I don't know how much you're going to be able to reflect and find the lesson in it, and therefore deal with those issues within you, or deal with those issues that may have been within him, that help you have a good understanding as to why the relationship didn't work, so that next time you're not facing the same issue. I also don't want you to have this narcissistic attitude, like it's all about me. I'm the ish, and if he doesn't want me, something's wrong with him. Like, who are we to say that? Like, who are we? Doesn't someone have a choice? Don't they have a right to choose what they want for their lives? Don't you have a choice? Don't you have a choice to choose what you want for your life? And if someone doesn't fit that bill, you don't have to choose them. And they shouldn't be saying that same thing about you, that they feel rejected because you didn't want them. Let's have some really sober and mature resolves about rejection, or when someone does not choose you. I'm going to discuss 4 of the reasons that I believe are very important reasons why someone doesn't choose you, or as you might think, they reject you. 1, compatibility. 2, chemistry. 3, timing. And 4, God. Now, let's dig into that. So the first one is compatibility. Now, one of the things that comes to mind is intellect, your levels of intellect. So we all have varying degrees of intellect. You could be in a setting with someone and you realize you both are on 2 very different planes intellectually. And when you're thinking of being with a person in a romantic relationship, you want to kind of be on the same level. And then if one is above the other, it can't be too far above, because then they can't really have conversations on a level playing field, right? Secondly, what if you both have different moral compasses? You feel one way about certain things, he feels another way. It doesn't match up. I'm going to give you a quick example. I remember one time I was out with this guy, right? It was a little sick. We're walking down the street and there's this homeless person on the ground, and the guy was begging for money. So this guy I'm walking down the street with was like, yo, you need to work just like I work. I'm not giving you my effing money, blah, blah, blah. And I looked at this dude and I'm like, in my head, is he serious? I knew from that day on, I could not be with somebody like him. He was very mean-spirited. He didn't have a heart for people. It's one thing to think that, but it's another thing to know that some people have mental illness. They have, reasons why they're in situations like that. I think we as humans should have a bigger heart for people. And so his moral compass was much different from mine. Let's think about our temperament. Like, you might be hot tempered, right? And the other person may be very mild tempered. You out at an event and something happens and they're having an argument, they're ready to fight, and you're not like that. You're even tempered. You know how to problem solve and like diffuse situations. You can't be with somebody like that, right? If someone doesn't excite you or intrigue you about what they're doing, like they have a career that is interesting to you, that's fascinating, they may be working on something, it might be the beginning of it, but it sounds interesting, sounds like something you would be interested in supporting them with. Like, those kinds of things can help you feel more compatible with someone, because that person excites you and it makes you feel like, I could be with them. I could see life with them. I can do life with them. Let's say you are a conversationist and that person doesn't know how to communicate. You're dating and you want to talk through something. There was some type of issue and they can't talk or they won't talk. Then that means you're not compatible with them. Who wants to be with somebody that they can't have a decent conversation with, or they can't talk through an issue? Like, I'll never forget one time I was dating this guy and we had an argument, and when it was time to kind of, talk through it, was rough at first, but when it was time to talk through it, we got through it well. At the end of it, we were both like, yo, we argue well. And you need somebody like that. Like, yes, you're going to have rough patches, but can you get through it together and be stronger afterward? I felt like after that, we were stronger. Say you're having a conversation with someone and they're really not listening to you. So every time they respond to you, it has nothing to do with what you were saying. It always turns around to be a conversation about them. So they never really heard you. They're just waiting for the chance to talk about themselves. That can be a big deal for some people. I want to be heard. I want you to listen to me. I don't want you to cut me off and continue talking about yourself. I want you to hear me. I want you to respond. I want you to give me some advice, maybe, or even if you don't give advice, you're like, I hear you, I understand you, I hear your heart. And so when you don't have somebody that can do that for you, you just feel like something's missing. You kind of walk away, you're sitting there like, are we having a conversation together? Like, what's happening here? Yeah. I remember one time I was dating this guy. He came over. I knew him for a long time, and so he wanted to date me. I don't know if we dated. We were being friends. And so he came over my house, and I think we were watching TV, playing music. I can't remember. But he wanted to listen to music. So he put on music from his country. I'm interested in that. So I'm listening and I'm like, oh, okay, this is good. So he gets up, he's dancing, and like he's zoned out. Fine, enjoy yourself, bruh, right? But what I realized after that, he didn't have a good sense of, he didn't share himself. He was just zoned out in his own world, and that was it. I didn't feel compatible to him or with him. I also remember a time when I felt like I had to walk on eggshells with him. I had to be careful what I said, because if I said something, he would twist it and thought I was starting an argument with him. And at some point, I was like, this is not going to work for me. I cannot be in a relationship where every time I speak, what I say is being misconstrued. The next thing is chemistry. I think we know what chemistry is. Do you have those feelings in your gut, the butterflies that make you feel like, oh, I like him, I like he, right? And so you might say, I'm attracted to 6 feet tall, slim build, muscles, a career guy or white collar guy, like whatever, right? But when you meet the person and they have a lot of the other qualities that you like, sometimes those physical characteristics don't even matter. To a degree now. If I'm 5'4", I don't want somebody 5 feet. And I really don't want somebody 5'4". I want somebody at least 3 or 4 inches taller than me. But that's me. But let's say I met somebody that was my height and he was wonderful and he treated me like a queen. I take that too. I take that to the bank. Trust and believe. Timing. I really think timing is a thing. And sometimes people don't think timing is an issue. They feel like if somebody meets you and they like you, they should just be with you and forget all the things that they may be working on and just be with you. And if they don't, then they're not that into you. I've heard that saying. If he's not doing XYZ, if he doesn't want you to be his girl, that means he's not that into you. And I don't know if I'm wrong. You tell me in the comment section. Am I wrong? I don't know if that's true. I don't know. That would mean that everybody you meet is ready. And sometimes we're just not ready. Sometimes we got some ish going on in our lives that we need to fix first, right? Sometimes people have some trauma in their life that affects their ability to be in a healthy relationship. It can end up damaging the relationship. And if they're wise enough to identify this, they will say, I can't do this. I'm not going to be in this relationship right now. I'm going to wait. I'm going to work on me. And if they want a relationship, ultimately want a relationship, they will likely get some therapy or begin to work on themselves and deal with some of those issues that plague them. Sometimes people don't want the responsibility of a mate. With a mate comes responsibility. They have to be responsible for them. They have to be available to them. They have to sacrifice for them. And sometimes they don't want to do that. They want to be selfish. They want to live their life the way that they live. And they don't want anything in the middle of that. And likely they have other things going on. They may be very career oriented, very geared toward taking care of family. Maybe just wanting to live a life free and clear, traveling, like whatever. Who knows the reason? And we don't have a right to force somebody to do something that they're not ready for. You want your mate to be in this relationship and be 100% in the relationship, right? So we should never push someone to do more. We should never give ultimatums. That doesn't mean that you don't tell somebody, I can't do this with you. Or if you're not ready for me, I'm going to move on. You have to take the onus of yourself and not allow yourself to continue to be in a situationship where someone hasn't chosen you. And when it's an issue of timing, it doesn't mean that it won't happen ever. It's just that it's not the time for you right now. But I will say this. If the person is not ready for you now and they want to come back in your life later, when they come back, they got to come back right. They got to come back saying, I'm ready. Let's do this. I believe in second chances, but I don't believe in multiple chances because that means they didn't value you that second time around. If they had a chance, had an opportunity to be with you for that amount of time, decided I'm not ready for this, then they go on, you both go on and live your lives. Then they come back, still not sure. Then you're going to give them another opportunity and another opportunity and another, like, no. When they come back, they got to know that they want you and they have to commit. Don't put yourself through that up and down roller coaster experience. I've been there. Don't do it. It's not healthy for you. The last reason is God. God just did not ordain it. Sometimes you just know when you're with the person, this is a God hookup or this is not a God hookup. You know when you meet a person, you have a peace, you have a knowing, I'm supposed to be with this person, whether it's for reason or season, right? But you know it's purposeful. And so that brings me to the thought that I believe that God has one perfect person for you. The Bible says that God has a good, perfect, and permissive will. When I think about that scripture, I think that God will present you with people, right? And out of those people you meet, there's some people that are his good will, like they're good for you. They are his permissive will, like he will permit it, but it's not really his best, right? And then there's the perfect will of God for your life. I'm just saying, I want the perfect will of God for my life. I hope you do too. And I hope you will wait for the perfect will of God for your life. Don't accept his good will and his permissive will. Wait for the perfect will of God for your life. I truly believe that every marriage has a kingdom agenda. That God wants those two people to join together to support each other in kingdom business. Like whatever it is God has purposed for you to do in your life and for him to do in his life, you two will support each other like nobody else. You know, in a decent marriage or good marriage, that woman has that man's back. That man has that woman's back. Whatever they need, they got you. So imagine if you are purposed for something and you have that partner that's got you, no matter what, you can reach such levels in your life with the right partner that supports you. I'm not saying singles can't. And when you have that partner, you come home and say, babe, guess what happened? And they give you words of wisdom, or they say, I got you. I'm going to help you with this. Like, who wouldn't want that? I want that. I don't want to keep doing life alone, coming home to my own devices, figuring it all out by myself. I want to be able to call my man when I'm out. Hey, babe, guess what? I want to come home and be able to do the same thing. I want us to like talk and like bounce ideas off of each other and come up with the best responses to decisions that we need to make. Like, I want that. Recently, I was just thinking about this, and I saw a video, and this man was saying there would be no Barack without Michelle. I'm just saying, let that marinate for a minute. For so many different reasons and on so many different levels. And so men, I'm sorry I have to say this, men, some of y'all single men, you don't realize if you pick that good woman, that good thing, like the Bible says, a man that findeth a wife findeth a good thing. You find that good thing, you would be the man. Like, you would be the man. You missing out. Some of you men, and this is a little bit off subject, not quite, but some of you men, you don't want to be responsible for us. You just want to play. And that's fun for you, not being responsible. It's fun just having your women, getting your groove on as you feel free, using them for their bodies. Let's call a spade a spade. They're using you too.
Sometimes they're using you for your body too.
But 9 times out of 10, that woman wants more. She's with you because she's hoping that you're going to fall for her, fall in love with her. So both people are kind of using each other. But the man who has integrity, the man who has virtue, is not going to just sleep with women just like that. He's not going to do that. He's going to be very selective who he connects his body with. That's deep. You know, people talk about soul ties. I don't know that much I know about it. I don't know how much I believe in it. But just the idea of when a woman is laying down, opening herself physically to someone, and he's over her, entering into her, they're connected. That's spiritual. Why would you want to connect yourself with somebody in that way if they're not for you? How much power is it to be doing that with the person that you're supposed to be with your wife? Why are you men doing that? Why are you women doing that? Why are you allowing that to happen? I'm just saying.
I'm just saying.
I want you to think about it and pray about it. I'm not telling you to be celibate like me. I'm telling you to just be mindful and manage your virtue. Everybody doesn't need access to you. And there's something to be said about that. I really want the man that doesn't want to do that. He doesn't want to connect his body with some woman just to get his jollies. He's selective. He's saying, I want to share my body and my life with the person I'm supposed to be with. And I know when I meet him, he may not be all what he's supposed to be right away. He might be still engaging in that or whatever. But once he starts dealing with me, all of that's going to stop. He's going to see the value in me and in this relationship, this union. He's not going to want to share his body with that woman anymore. Okay, let me move on. So what I was saying is, like, I believe that God has a purpose for marriage. I also believe that there's a destiny person for you, someone that's assigned to your destiny that's going to help you along the trajectory of your life. And if you get with the wrong person, it's not going to be right. You're going to come home every day with issues and problems, and you can't even function to the capacity that you need to function. You don't need that. Wait for the person that God is destined for you. So I may have gotten off subject because I'm very passionate about my God ordained spouse, right? I know I'm the apple of God's eye. I know that he has a special person for me, the right person for me, the perfect person for me, as he does you. And I want to encourage you to wait for that right person. All of these things will line up. And though it might not be perfect, things may happen. There may be some tension. If you're prayerful about it, you will know if God has sent this person in your life. You'll be able to get through those kinks together, argue well, and be able to get to that next level. So I want to reiterate the 4 things that we should be looking at when we are rejected by someone. Because it's not necessarily that they're rejecting you or not choosing you because of you. There could be a lot of other reasons. Don't take it personally. Don't accept that rejection in your spirit. It really harms us. So remember, 1, if you're not compatible, they probably won't choose you and you won't choose them, right? 2, chemistry. If you don't have that feeling inside of your spirit for them, or if they don't have it for you, you're not going to choose one another. 3, if the timing is off, if either of you have to work on something within yourself, you've dealt with some trauma, you have a goal that you're trying to reach, you might not be ready. So the timing might be off. And lastly, God. If God didn't say it, if God didn't put it in their spirit, they're not going to choose you. So don't feel rejected because they don't choose you. Know that the person that is for you will choose you. Wait for that person. Think about having the perfect will of God for your life. Imagine what that's like. Let's not seek out relationship out of our lack, our feeling of lack, and our need to be in a relationship. Let's not pick somebody from that place. You pick somebody from that place, you're going to be in a mess. Can we be wise and sober-minded as it concerns thinking about why somebody rejects us or doesn't choose us, rather than putting the blame on them like it's all about them and that they're doing something to us? And let's remember that they didn't choose us probably because we're not supposed to be together. So if one person's not doing the choosing and the other person is, you can't come together. Let's not put blame on anyone. Let's learn to take inventory of ourselves. In the meantime, like, can I work on me? Is there something about me? Oh, I noticed that I'm very argumentative. I don't think he liked that. I saw his reaction when I started this argument. Oh, we went to dinner, and the way that I addressed the waitress wasn't very kind. He doesn't want somebody like that in his life. I need to check myself. Like, let's be honest with ourselves. Is there something about ourselves that we need to change? Let's say you have nothing going on for yourself, yet he's a guy that's ambitious. He got a lot going on. So he's looking at you because he might want somebody that has her own thing. Maybe he wants a girl that comes home and goes to work and comes home, can cook and clean and all of that, maybe. But maybe he wants a woman that is doing something. Begin to reflect. Begin to ask God, what should I be doing to improve me? Okay? Can I evolve? Can I become the woman that my husband needs? While I continue to believe God for my spouse, I am going to do this. I'm going to forever evolve so that when he comes, I can present him with this wonderful woman that I am, that will compliment him, compliment his life, and make him proud. Okay? Don't just sit around twiddling your fingers, being, woe is me, oh my gosh, why haven't I found my mate? Oh, what's taking so long? Begin to work on you. Okay? I love you. I want the best for you. I look forward to hearing your testimonies. I hope some of what I said is helpful and that you will use it as you wait and believe God for your spouse. Continue to work on you. You need to be with the right person so that you can thrive. Okay? All right, my love. I hope that was helpful. And I'm glad that you stayed with me this whole time. Also, lastly, I want to say my plan was to do every 2 weeks. I'm going to go back to weekly. There's some reasons why. I'll share that later. But in the meantime, look for me next week, Thursday. That's the goal. And if you like this, please like this channel. Please hit like right now. If you want to subscribe, that would support me. I want to grow my subscribership. I want you to share this with someone you know, anybody you know, whether they're single or childless, or they could have somebody in their life that's single or childless. So share with all of your friends, okay? I'm pretty new at this. I'm growing, I'm learning. Like every day I'm thinking about and learning about how to do this thing. So y'all pray for me as I will be praying for you, okay? So if you're still having grief about being single, know that this will not always be your reality, that you can come out of this feeling. This moment is not every moment. And that when you go to sleep, when you lay down your pretty little head and wake up the next morning, you're going to see a new sunrise. The sunrise is promised to us every day. And in that new sunrise, there's new possibilities. Look for the new possibilities in your life. Look for the ability to have joy and contentment despite the season you're in right now. Because this season is not going to last always. Okay? All right. I hope that I was helpful to you today, and I look forward to seeing you next time. Bye, love.